Hello, my name is Jonathan Russell, Etowah Senior District Executive, and today I want to talk to you about Friends of Scouting, and more specifically, Family Friends of Scouting, and what goes into a good presentation to get the results that you're looking for, the participation that you're looking for from the families. So first, what we're going to do is go through a few key points on what to bring and what you're going to emphasize when you're doing your presentation. And then we're going to do a mock presentation to show you how one should look from start to finish. The first thing you'll need to remember when you go on a presentation is to wear your uniform. I am obviously not wearing my uniform today, but this is just for training purposes, so make sure you're wearing your scout uniform. You need to be energetic and you need to bring your enthusiasm. So if you're not comfortable in front of a crowd and you can't speak with them in a commanding kind of voice where they're drawn into you, then practice that, rehearse it, or maybe consider finding a replacement. But you really need to bring your energy for this presentation. You'll need pledge cards. This is this year's pledge card, but we can't do a solid presentation without any pledge cards. We won't be collecting any pledges if you don't bring them, so make sure you bring that. Next, patches. The couple of the council strips are mailed for $300 and $500 givers, but this black one this year is for any gift, the black border baseball, and then the gold border is for $200 and above gifts. And that's good for instant recognition of the person when they make their pledge. So make sure you bring patches. I also recommend that you bring pens. You can get a box of pens like this from Office Max for $3 or $4 and continuously reuse them for other presentations. I also highly recommend that you try and find the ability to use a presentation. Okay, most units in their churches, at their blue and gold banquets, wherever they are, a lot of them actually will have presentation capabilities ready for you if you ask and call in advance. If they don't, you can see if your district executive or anybody has any other resources, a projector screen that you can borrow or anything like that. But I really would encourage it. It helps people keep focused and it helps you keep focused on the presentation. What we're going to do during this presentation is we're going to educate our families. That means we're going to talk about what Friends of Scouting is, how Scouting is financed, and where does the money go? Because I think people are more willing to give and make their contribution if they're educated on how the money helps support the council and what the council does to help support the unit. We're going to emphasize how much. Now we want to emphasize participation, but we really want to make a solid ask out there to the entire unit for supporting one scout. Can your family support one scout? We deem that a fair share contribution of $200. Maybe they can do more. Maybe they can do less. And ultimately we want to drive up participation, but don't be afraid to make that ask for the families to support one scout. That'll really, really help your participation and help your overall pledge dollars. Well, we're going to talk about the incentive. This year we have an incentive program in all 3 districts for unit participation. Apache and Hornets Nest, I believe, are incentivizing with the Bank of America Stadium Tour for units that have 75% participation among their families. And then Etowah will be doing the Knights Stadium, BB&T Ballpark. But you'll see that in the presentation, but we're going to educate them on the incentive. And that, I think, really helps drive families to give because it sets a unit goal. We're going to talk about how they can pledge, and we're going to show them a pledge card during the presentation. The key points they need to see on the pledge card, where to check their donation or write in another amount, how they can pledge. We're going to go through that whole process as well, because it's important that they know that they don't have to cut a check tonight. They can just make their pledge, and if they know that, they may be willing to give more than they would have if they had to give a check that night. We're going to talk about wrap-up, and then we're also going to talk about leader buy-in, which is one of the most important things about a Family Friends of Scouting presentation. A good presentation from somebody from the district is important, but what's really going to solidify the families behind the Friends of Scouting program is the Cub Master, the Scout Master, the Crew Advisor coming forward, making that first pledge on behalf of the unit and talking about why it's important we support the council and how those dollars help support the unit. So it's really important because they have a legitimacy in front of their families that you as a presenter just will not. And then we'll talk about how you can wrap everything up and make sure that you get all the results that you're looking for. So those are just some things I wanted to highlight before we go into the presentation. We're going to do a presentation now, and we hope you enjoy it.
Good evening, Pack 7 3/4. As you know, my name is Gary Moore. I am your Pack Cub Master. Good evening. This week you received a special email from me. It was about our special guest this evening. His name is Jonathan Russell. He is our Senior District Executive for our district. He's here to talk to you tonight about a special program, special campaign, and opportunity for this pack to step up and support the annual Friends of Scouting campaign. When you paid your dues, bought your uniform, and the activities where we surcharge for the various events that we run, that's just a part of the support that Scouting needs to keep strong in Mecklenburg County and to keep our pack going. Most of you have been to Belk Scout Camp. Jonathan's going to tell you about camp and some other things. So I want you to really listen tonight, and I want you to commit to this campaign as suggested in the email that I sent out this week. So without further ado, our guest, Jonathan Russell. Thank you for coming tonight, Jonathan.
Thank you, Gary. It is my pleasure to be here, and it is my pleasure to serve as your district executive here in this district. As Gary said, I'm here to talk to you tonight about the Friends of Scouting campaign and what it is and why it's important. And our theme this year, if you can see on the screen, is hit a home run for Scouting. So we have an awesome baseball theme with a great incentive program in store for you. So if I could, though, if we think about Scouting and everything that comes to mind when you think about Scouting, camping and folding flags and the citizenship and just every image that comes to mind when you think of Scouting, so that's a lot. If you could take that and wrap it up into 3 things, it would be character, citizenship, physical fitness. That is what this program is all about. That's what we're trying to accomplish. Those are the values we're trying to instill in your son here in Cub Scouting and hopefully Boy Scouting for when he becomes an adult. So take all that stuff. This is what we're trying to accomplish. This is our mission. So what is Friends of Scouting? Family Friends of Scouting is when we go to every pack, troop, and crew in the entire council and, of course, this district and ask the parents, the volunteers, family members to support your council financially. That's what Family Friends of Scouting is all about. Now, how is Scouting financed? Well, when you join Scouting, you paid a registration fee. That $24, that goes to the Boy Scouts of America National Organization. They're located in Texas. That's how they fund their operations. And they're the ones who design the program and provide the resources to councils and units to conduct the program. So that's how they fund their operation. You heard your Cub Master talk about the dues you paid when you joined this pack. So those dues help fund the pack operations, buying advancement, maybe helping to go on trips, and that kind of thing. Friends of Scouting is about the third thing here, council revenues. Now, I'm not here to go deep into a pie chart and all that explanation, but what I do want you to see here is that Friends of Scouting is 35% of how your council funds itself. 35%. It is the biggest piece of the pie. It is the most important piece of the pie when it comes to financing your council. So that's what I want you to take away from that chart. Now, what is the council? Maybe many of you are brand new to Scouting, and a few months ago, a guy like myself came in and talked to your son in his classroom and got him all hyped up about Scouting. And so he came and told you that he wanted to join the Cub Scouts. So one of the first things you had to do was go out and purchase a uniform. And one of the very first patches you had to buy was the shoulder strip that says Mecklenburg County Council. And the council provides services and support to all of our PAX troops and crews in the area to help conduct the scouting program. And that's what this slide is telling you a little bit about. We are very fortunate as a council to own and operate 2 camps. Where many only have 1, we have 2 that are available to you. Belk Scout Camp, which, since this is Cub Scouts, many of you are probably most familiar with. Beautiful piece of property. And then, of course, Camp Grimes, which is a little further away, but 1,100 acres, absolutely gorgeous, and free of charge for your unit to use anytime during the year. We employ a full-time ranger out there to make sure the grass is cut and make sure there's paint on the walls and rocks on the road, everything needed to keep that camp in operation throughout the year. So 2 beautiful pieces of camping property that your dollars go to finance. We have our Council Service Center, which houses our administrative offices. It also has the Scout Shop, which many of you went to when you bought that first uniform. And then, of course, we have a unit service program, and the council conducts training for your leaders, recruiting support when it comes time to recruit in the flyers and mailers and things like that. And then, of course, professional guidance to help guide your unit to success in scouting. So these are all the things that the council does to help support your unit and to help support scouting here in Mecklenburg County. 99% of your donation, 99% of any pledge you make tonight is going to stay right here in Mecklenburg County. So it's going to stay local. How much should we give? How much should you give if you're considering to make a pledge tonight? We estimate that of all the scouts in Mecklenburg County, it costs $200 per scout. And so that's what we are hoping you will consider tonight. Can you support 1 scout? Can your family make a pledge for $200 this year, a fair share pledge, and support 1 scout? Ultimately, we want to encourage participation. Maybe you can do 300. Maybe you can do 500. Maybe it's less than 200. We want you to participate. That's our mission here tonight, is to encourage everyone in this unit to participate in the Friends of Scouting program. But we hope you will consider making a fair share contribution of $200 and support 1 scout. Now, to help incentivize a little bit your participation, the district has come up with a new incentive program. If 75% of the families from this unit participate at any level in the Friends of Scouting campaign, we're going to send the entire unit on a behind-the-scenes tour of BB&T Ballpark in Uptown Charlotte, home of the Charlotte Knights. You'll get to see the dugouts, you'll get to see the locker rooms, you'll even get to do a little bit of batting. So I really, really want to send this pack to that tour. It's going to be a lot of fun, and you can accomplish that tonight if 75% of the families here participate in the Friends of Scouting campaign. The Knights are doing this because they want to support scouting and they want to support our mission. They're not receiving any monetary compensation for this. They just want to help. They've also added that anybody who chooses to make a $500 pledge or higher will receive 2 complimentary tickets to a Knights game this season. So I think you can do it. This pack has always done such a great job of supporting the Friends of Scouting campaign. I'm really looking forward to sending you there later this year for that awesome tour. Now, how can you pledge? Before, I had our Arrow of Light Scouts pass out this pledge card to all the families and the adults here tonight. This is a great piece of literature. It's going to talk about a lot of the things I've already talked about, how the council is financed, where the money goes, but it also has some really interesting facts about scouting here in Mecklenburg County that will show you how your dollars make a difference. It'll talk about service hours and merit badges and camp attendance. Probably my personal favorite, though this may change this year after our phenomenal Scouting for Food campaign this year, is 33,000 hours invested back into the community through service hours just through Eagle projects, just through Eagle Scout projects. So that's a real indicator of where your dollars go to support. So please read through that and check some of that out. Now, you'll have a detachable pledge card here. It will tear off from this, and this is where you can make your pledge for this year, just for this year, for the 2016 year. You check the box that you want to give at, or if none of those boxes are what you are willing or able to give at, then you can also just write in an other amount. Like I said, we will hope you consider a fair share amount, a $200 pledge, but ultimately give what you and your family are capable of giving. Please put your name and your address, and then also we can bill you. So if you want to pay everything tonight in one check, that's great. You can make checks payable to BSA. You can also choose to be billed at a later date. You can also choose to be billed quarterly or monthly. We do everything we can to make this as feasible as possible. And then please make sure that you sign it at the bottom, regardless of whether or not you're giving a cash or check tonight. Please make sure you sign your pledge card and indicate your pack number. Pack 7 3/4. We want to make sure that this pack gets the credit that it's due, so we can send you to BB&T Ballpark later this fall. Now, before I bring your Cub Master back up, I do want to say this is more than just professional for me. This is personal. I am an Eagle Scout from Troop 23, which is here in Charlotte, North Carolina, and to me, scouting was my youth. It was my youth defined, and while I did a lot of different things growing up, and I played sports and I did club activities, scouting was the only program that offered me a leadership opportunity. It was the only program that gave me the ability to lead other boys. And that leadership opportunity I have carried with me for the rest of my life. And that's what I think makes us different and special from other programs that kids can participate in. So this is personal for me, and I hope you will consider making a pledge tonight. Are there any questions? If there are no questions, then I'd like to turn it back over to Mr. Moore.
Thank you, Mr. Russell. I especially want to thank the boys tonight for being quiet and giving their attention. You guys are awesome in allowing Mr. Russell and your parents an opportunity to take this time to hear the story about the council and all the support that we receive as Pack 7 3/4 here at First, Last, and Only Take Any Denomination Church. We appreciate you, Mr. Russell. Mr. Russell, our pack has always stepped up and done a really good job with Friends of Scouting. Last year we raised $5,000. We would like to get to $7,500 or $10,000.
That'd be great.
And you know, I'm passionate about this program. Hopefully I demonstrate that. I vote with my feet. I come out to activities. I support through the Cub Scout Day Camp. But I also want to support the council and the district financially. So I'd like to support with more than support for one boy. So here's my pledge. And my expectation, parents, is that we pause for a moment and everybody step up and make your commitment to the annual Friends of Scouting campaign. Mr. Russell, we really appreciate
I appreciate you, and I'd like to give you your recognition patch to wear on your uniform.
Thank you.
Going forward. And if you need a pen, please, I have pens for you to borrow, and I'll be over here to collect your pledge cards. Thank you so much for letting me come out tonight.
Thank you, and I've got a new temporary patch for my pocket. Thank you so much. We do appreciate you.